So, hello everyone, my name is Socrates101, and today I'm going to introduce you to my system of how I want to build my channel, or what I want to build my channel around. So, basically what I've been noticing is a lack of team building, really. A lot of people, a lot of players tell me the exact same story, and they tell me, well, I really know how to battle and how to make predictions and what to switch in on what, etc., etc. But I'm not good at building teams. So I'm not claiming to be a god at team building or anything close to that even. But what I do think that I have a better understanding of how to build teams in certain tiers, especially the higher tiers like UU and OU, than most people do. So I'm actually thinking about building my channel around team building. So what I did actually was, recently there has been this ginormous hype around hyper offense, and I'm an offensive player, but I've never used a hyper offensive team. And my favorite tier right now is the UU metagame. So I decided to just try it and build a hyper offensive team for UU, and today I'm going to break it down. I'm going to break it down in a couple segments. I'm going to show my first attempt, which miserably failed. Then I'm going to show you that I put it in an RMT on Smogon to make it even better, and I got some suggestions, and some of those I took to heart and did something with them, and some of them I just completely ignored. And I'm also going to show you the RMT, and I'm going to leave the link of that RMT in the description. So if you want to use this team yourself, you can just copy and paste and you can use this team in UU. I've had quite some success with it, to be honest. I don't lose most of my battles unless I make really stupid, unnecessary mistakes. So without any further ado, let's just jump into this team building. So the team I was talking about, which miserably failed, is this sticky whip hyper offense. It is Choice Scarf Rachi, Choice Band Arena Trap Duck Trio, Offensive Arcanine, which you never see and is really underused. Quite ironic, it isn't underused, but it's underused for underused. Then there's Offensive Rosary, great coverage, 125 base special attack, offensive Blastoise, and then there's Focusage Alakazam. This team, actually, I recreated this team, and it's not bad now, but it's not really good. So let's go into the main team of today. This was my first attempt, and this was my second attempt, and I've had quite some success with this team. Well, I feel like I've had quite some success with this team. So this is the original team. This is the team where I started it with. I already made this one adamant over what I think is Jolly. Yes, Jolly. So, but first off, I wanted, when you build an hyper offensive team, you obviously want fast Pokemon. And as you can see, well, I have quite the fast Pokemon, but so I didn't know Mega Alakazam with a base 150 speed as soon as it gets this Mega Evolution was UU at the time. I thought it was still Blacklist, but apparently it is UU again. So I took the fastest thing, which I knew was available, which is Mega Aerodactyl, and I created an offensive set with it. So you can actually go a lot of ways with this. You can actually also just put Taunt on it over Aqua Tail or Stone Edge. Some people in the RMT set, I should use Roost, but I just like Aqua Tail for coverage, even though I hardly ever find myself using it. So maybe I should put Home Claws on it, just to reinsure that I never miss Stone Edge. But Aerodactyl is mainly used as a revenge killer and as a late game sweeper, because Aerodactyl does not have the power to kill everything and to OHKO a lot of things. So it is really good as a late game sweeper. Next off, there's Elizabeth. When you build a hyper offensive team, you want some kind of hazard. And Nidoqueen is a bit bulkier than Nidoking, so it can take hits a bit better. That's why I have 96 investment EVs in my HP. So Elizabeth can live most hits. It cannot live Choice Scarf Flare Blitz from Darmanitan, that's like the only thing it cannot take. Most special hits it can live, most physical hits it can take. And this is also a decent counter against things like Mian Chao and Florges. So, after it gets up Stealth Rocks, this basically is my suicide lead. I lead with Elizabeth like 95% of the time. So, I try and get up my Stealth Rocks, and then I just try and put as big possible hole in the opponent's team with Elizabeth. But after it gets up its Stealth Rocks, this guy is basically done. This female actually is basically has done its job completely. Even though it does have quite good coverage and it is pretty powerful, with the modest nature, it does a lot against Pokemon like Florges, which is not really a problem to this team, but it's better to keep it around. So next up is Sezendora, which is the Japanese name for Hydreigon. And it's the Choice Scarf variant with dual stab U-turn for momentum, which is another important factor on my team. As you can see, I have 4 Pokemon which can keep up momentum, which is very important as soon as you are using a hyper offensive team, because you want to keep momentum and you want to be in charge of the pace in that game, which is usually a very high pace. So I have Draco Meteor, Dark Pulse, U-turn, and Iron Tail, because this set usually gets completely walled by fairy types, because they resist the Dark Pulse and they are immune to the Draco Meteor. So you can either decide to go for U-turn, keep momentum, and switch something in like Crobat, which can take most fairy Pokemons on reasonably well, but you can also choose to go for Iron Tail and do a lot of damage. Iron Tail does a lot. Hydreigon does have base 105 attack, so it does 2-shot Florges, if I'm not mistaken. And this is just a really good late game sweeper, revenge killer as well, just next to this Aerodactyl. Now this thing is actually here to deal with very fast Pokemon like Mega Aerodactyl, because it is after Stealth Rock switch in, the Draco Meteor just one-shots Mega Aerodactyl, because Mega Aerodactyl is reasonably frail. Next out there is John Wayne. Downfall of a hyper offensive team is that you want to have hazard control as well. So mainly as soon as I see that this opponent is using a spike stacking team or something, I'm going to be in a disadvantage, but I don't want that. So I'm not going to lead with Elizabeth. I'm not going to get up my rocks, or I might still lead with it, but I'm not going to get up my rocks. I just really want no hazards on my side of the field, even though Crobat and Mega Aerodactyl are the only 2 Pokemon weak to Stealth Rocks. I still don't want a lot of toxic spikes or spikes. I don't want my team taking unnecessary damage, so that's why I chose Crobat. And as you can see, my team, after Elizabeth dies, struggles with Choice Scarf Mian Chao, because it knocks out a lot of my Pokemon. It one-shots this with high jump kick, one-shots this, and this with high jump kick. So that's also a reason why I picked Crobat. If you get the reference, I love it. By the way, if you don't get the reference, what are you doing with your life, by the way? But I just went for Brave Bird and U-turn Roost, because Mian Chao is able to... You still have to be very careful with Mian Chao, because it can carry the Stone Edge, and that's still going to hurt your Crobat reasonably bad. Reasonably hard. It does have Roost, just to regen as soon as you take a lot of damage from entry hazards, high jump kicks, etc. You want to just keep this thing alive as long as Mian Chao is alive, and you can keep up momentum with a U-turn or hit something very hard with the Brave Bird. You have 204 EVs in attack, so this thing still hits pretty hard, and it outspeeds the majority of Pokemon. This speed investment is enough to outspeed Alakazam, max speed plus nature Alakazam. I keep forgetting these natures, even though I should know them by now. But so what we are going to do next is we're gonna go and show off the real MVP. Raikou is the real MVP in this team. Well, not really, but I'm using a choice specs, but I've considered an Assault Vest variation as well, because Raikou is reasonably bulky on this special side because it has 100 base special defense, which is pretty badass, to be honest. So it could switch into a lot of special. It's only once though. As soon as you use a Assault Vest, it can do that twice, maybe 3 times, depending on rolls. So what I use on it is just T-Bolt, Volt Switch, Extra Sensory as soon as someone would predict my... A lot of people use Nidoking and Nidoqueen. As you can see, I'm using one, obviously. As soon as they predict, I just tap Extra Sensory, and then it's a clean Oko with the choice specs. I'm not sure whether if I'd use Assault Vest, it would still be an Oko, because Raikou does have respectable special attack with 115 base power. Last but not least is I put Hidden Power Grass on this. This team struggles a bit with Swampert because my Infernape is pure physical and does not carry Nasty Plot with Grass Knot. So, most people predict the Hidden Power Grass because why otherwise would you switch in a Raikou on a Swampert? So Swampert knocks something out and I switch in Raikou. Well, why would I do that if I do not carry the Hidden Power Grass? So usually they switch out as well. Last but not least, there is Samatros, and which is Life Orb Infernape. As you can see, the other 5 members of this team struggle a bit with specially defensive, or just Blissey in general, and specially defensive Umbreon. With Close Combat and Flare Blitz, U-Turn and Mach Punch, I think this is a really nice set. This is actually the glue of my team, really. So I really don't want to change this set. Even though a lot of people in the RMT, as we'll see in a couple seconds, will suggest that I should change this. But I have Close Combat just to clean one-shot Blissey and to one-shot Umbreon. Umbreon. Well, this actually knocks out physically defensive Umbreon as well. So I was really proud of this team, and I had quite some success with it. And then I decided to make it better and put it in a RMT. So this is the RMT, and these are the votes. I actually voted this one, but the majority of people said, well, it could use some tweaks, but then I'd still like to use your team. So I was not dissatisfied with that. So this is the explanation as well. I basically gave the explanation, and these are all the sets that I use, even with other recommendations. So this is the team. But let's just get into what other people recommend me using. First guy recommends using Fire Blast on Hydreigon. I was like, nah, I like my Iron Tail on Hydreigon. And then I got this suggestion quite sometimes, changing Infernape to SD Lucario, because I had nothing that resists Dragon. But I didn't really feel like I needed something that resists Dragon. But apparently with SD Lucario you can at least tank one Draco Meteor from Hydreigon if I needed that. But in my opinion, I have quite some things that can tank a... Well, I actually have 2, which is Elizabeth, real MVP, and if there are no rocks on the field, Aerodactyl can tank one as well. So I didn't really feel like that was necessary, actually, to change it to SD Lucario. But then another guy suggested the exact same thing. He said, well, your Jolly Nature on Aerodactyl is really unnecessary because it's already the fastest Pokemon in the game. Without using Jolly, you can just use Adamant for extra power. So I just did that like a minute ago, so I didn't really use that. And now one guy suggests Mix Ape over, or Sword Stance Infernape over the all-out attacking Infernape, which I'm using. So these are actually things that I kind of try to implement in my team. As you can see, this is the original team, but I have 3 of these right here. So this is version 2, which is basically the exact same team, except I replaced the Infernape with SD Lucario. So I asked on the RMT, well, what set would I use on Lucario? Because I can use E-Killer, SD E-Killer, but nah, that might not cut it. And I tried E-Killer, and it really didn't work that well. So one guy suggested, well, You need Earthquake or Crunch to kill Chandelure, because otherwise it switches in for free. But what I recommend is Bullet Punch with Close Combat over E-Speed. You're obviously going to run Close Combat. So the set I had before this Lucario was Bullet Punch, Close Combat, and Crunch, which I was not pleased with at all. This is absolutely a better set, but regardless of anything, I still prefer my I still prefer my Physically Infernape over this. So I tried this team. I didn't really like it. I liked my Infernape because it was kind of the glue of the team. But regardless of anything, what I use Infernape for, Lucario can do as well. Just set up and not even set up, just Close Combat and kill Umbreon and kill Blissey. So that's the only thing I ask of Lucario, and it's able to do that. But Infernape could do so much more than that. It's a lot faster, and it also walls Sableye, which is a very important factor. As soon as you're running Hyper Offense, you don't want something to just Prankster Will-O-Wisp all of your physical attackers. With Infernape, well, you can just freely switch that in. It's going to resist the foul play as well, and just retaliate really, really hard. So then there was a version 3 of this team, which again is the exact same team, except I changed this Infernape. This is actually a custom Infernape set. With Close Combat, Grass Knot, Fire Blast, and Nasty Plot. I don't really like Fire Blast because it tends to miss at crucial points in the game. But this is actually my favorite team thus far, even though Fire Blast tends to miss. But this allows me to struggle less with Swampert in general, because usually Raikou switches in on this, and actually should change this to Ice, because I have Grass Knot on this now to deal with Swampert. 172 special attack, so this is the investment that is necessary to Infernape to be able to one-shot especially defensive Umbreon with Close Combat. So max speed obviously, and then there's Nasty Plot, Fire Blast, Grass Knot. So I actually like this team a bit better, but I still like my original team as well. The only thing I don't really like or would recommend is using SD Lucario on this team. But if you, maybe I don't use it the right way, so there's something wrong with that. But if you like this concept of me trying to explain or build teams, I'm going to try and do this once a week, and then I'm going to also upload a live session with this team. So what I'm going to do with this team is just play one game with each and every one of them, and I'm going to do some post narrations as well. So I'm going to be uploading 3 videos a week on average. I'm going to try and upload 3 videos a week, basically building or showing a team I've built to help people, because I think team building, a lot of players uploaded a team building video which should explain how to build all the teams there are, but that is quite impossible to do in one single video, and you're not going to learn anything out of that. Well, maybe a tiny bit or just some basics, but what's important, you're gonna get good at team building when you practice it a lot, and I feel like I can help people build teams. If you have any suggestions or questions or want me to help you with building teams, I am open to anything. Just leave it in the comment section, and once more, I will leave this RMT in the description as well, so you can just copy this team and do with it whatever you like. Let me know if you have success with it, if you think it sucks, if you think it could if you think I could implement some changes left and right. So this is going to be the end of this video, so I hope you want to hit the subscribe button, because I will try and help you with building teams. And if you don't like that, well, you don't have to watch every single video I put out. You can just skip the team building videos and just watch my post narrations and life battles. So this is the end of the video. Really hope you enjoyed, really hope you liked it. The music that has been playing in the background is the Fairy Tale Epic theme hip-hop instrumental. I really like this song. I've been listening to it a lot. I know it from Pokemon, which also inspired me to do YouTube in general. So once more, this is the end of the video. I hope to see you next time. Peace.